Welcome to the Rapid Research Podcast, where two friends answer the big questions after searching the internet for 30 minutes. Hey there, welcome into Rapid Research, a new podcast where we take a couple minutes and research some random topics on the internet and give you what we believe to be true information. My name is Tyler Juvenile. I'm here with my good friend Joel.
Hello, all. I'm very excited to be with you today. Be sure to follow us at Rapid Research Pod. This will be on TikTok, Instagram, and any other social media websites that you frequent.
As we get this going, we would love for you guys to share it with your friends. Give us a 5-star rating on all the social platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you listen to your podcasts. We want to get this off the ground. We think there's a lot of interesting stuff out there on the internet that we want to make available to you.
Yeah, so we have been friends for a while, several years now. Tyler and I have done a lot of work together. We've done a lot of creating together, a lot of working in several different fields together.
Lots of different stuff.
And we really just enjoy creating, and we also enjoy researching. We like random stuff.
We really like random things. We've done a few test episodes behind the scenes and have enjoyed them a ridiculous amount. Maybe we'll post some of that stuff later on. But for now, this is our first official episode. Today, Joel, what are we going to be researching today?
Today, to kick things off, we are going to be talking about theme and amusement parks. I am excited about researching this, but I will say I am not the biggest fan of theme parks as a whole.
I'm not either.
Yeah. I really enjoy Disney World. Okay? Disney World to me is the exception to this rule. I have been to Disney World 3 or 4 times in my life. I enjoy the theming of Disney World. However, the thing that sets Disney World, I think, apart from these most theme parks is that Disney is focused on creating a feeling of joy and a feeling of nostalgia, as opposed to simply throwing a bunch of rides into a place and saying, go have fun.
So I think amusement actually comes from a Greek word, and it comes from basically a 2-part, ah and muse. Muse means to think, and ah means the absence of.
Okay. I'm going to be real. You went on that tangent. I was like, this is going to be so stupid. And then I was like, no, he's right.
So seriously, an amusement park is a park where you go and not think. Like, it's all about the thrill of a ride and all of that kind of stuff. And
right.
Like, that's totally fine. Like, for all of you people out there, if amusement parks are your thing, that's fine and dandy. For me, I'm not huge on big crowds, lots of noise. I get drained throughout the day, and I'm not a big roller coaster guy.
I don't like anything that's going to give me a headache afterwards. You know, like, I'm not a fan of anything.
It sounded like a very adult thing to say.
It is, but yeah, I'm getting old. Like, I'm 25 years old, and
so old.
I feel so much older than I did, like, even a year or 2 ago. Like, in terms of what my body wants to do. Like, I used to just want to go do things, and I'm getting to a place where I'm okay with not going and doing things and just sitting at home.
The old adage, who's going? Will it be loud? I'll drive separate.
I'll drive separate, yes. Driving separate is real, dude. If I'm going anywhere now, I'm always driving separate.
Absolutely.
All times.
All right. Yeah. Well, we're going to go. This is the part of the show where we go and research for 30 minutes, no more, no less. And then we'll be right back, and we will give you what we have found on the interwebs, and hopefully there will be no misinformation. You'll all walk away smarter, and we will be more full of useless information.
See you in 30.
See you in 30. And we are back from some very soul-searching research.
It was certainly searching. I'm going to kick us off, actually, real quick with some information that I found.
If you want to, that's totally fine
I would
with
love to. I think it'd be good if we walked through really quick just the history of amusement parks and what they've looked like over the years.
Okay, because I did very little as far as the actual, where did these things come from? Mine are mostly failures and funny failures.
Yes, I have a couple of those, but I'm going to walk through the quick history of what this looks like. So, amusement parks themselves didn't originate until the 1800s.
1800s.
But before that, the concept of going somewhere outdoors where there might be some kind of theming was not new. We had things called fairs or pleasure gardens earlier in the...
Whoa!
I didn't really love what they were called, but they were called pleasure gardens. These were in the 1500s. Pleasure gardens.
A little bit of cultural nuance there for the 1500s that maybe wouldn't be the same today. So let's just keep a lid on it, folks.
Correct. Yes. So pleasure gardens were public parks with music, dancing, food, early carousels, things like that would be running. The earliest roots actually go back to medieval fairs in Europe, where people would come together to go to and showcase art, showcase food, showcase jousting, these types of things that would happen back then. Trivoli Gardens opened in 1843, and this was in Copenhagen. And is still in operation today and one of the world's oldest amusement parks. Now, we didn't get the full birth of the modern amusement park until Coney Island. So Coney Island,
very famous amusement park.
Yes, Coney Island opened in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and is considered to be basically the founder of the modern amusement park, where we have thrill rides, electric lights, and entertainment of such. First roller coasters also around this time, where we start seeing the actual thrill ride. Coney Island, if I may say, interesting fact, was the birthplace of the hot dog.
Yes, and that makes sense because of how many restaurants are called Coney Island.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in Michigan, of all places. Have you been to Michigan and seen a lot of Coney Island?
No.
Okay, because they are everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, you go to Michigan, you want a hot dog, the restaurant you're going to is probably got something about Coney Island in it.
Well, you've heard of Nathan's Hot Dogs, the brand.
Yep.
That is because the guy named Nathan was the one who started selling hot dogs at Coney Island. So
incredible.
We don't start seeing theme parks until around the 1950s. What do you think opened in 1955, Tyler?
Disney
which?
I don't know.
Disneyland, yes.
Yeah, out there
opens,
in the California.
Yes. So we get Disneyland. And this is where we start getting more of the theme park idea of we're not just there for rides, we have a theme going on. And then after that, we start getting Six Flags, Universal Studios, all these different places that are starting to
Those
get
are
more
kind of the big
to them.
three. You got Disney, Six Flags, and Universal.
Yes.
Universal,
Cedar Point.
Cedar Point is a big dog. But Cedar Point's a standalone, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Six Flags has several locations.
Mm-hmm.
Disney has two in
the United States.
Yeah, and then they have Tokyo,
Paris, and Hong Kong.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
And then Universal is just Universal.
Yeah, there is a Universal in I think in China as well.
Okay, cool.
But yes, so we start getting taller, faster roller coasters, and by the late 1900s, we start getting the thrill-seeking side of roller coasters and whatnot. So that's your brief history. I will also mention now we are in kind of the virtual reality and AI-powered section of life of the so we're starting to see a lot of that VR style. Universal is heavily influenced by VR. and screens and things like that.
I've seen a lot of videos and stuff of some of their rides, and they're pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
And I think they're opening up a new park, like a part of their park, with like How to Train Your Dragon type stuff, and I think there's some cool stuff going on there.
Yeah, if I may say, one of my favorite parts about Disney or Universal or any of these places is the animatronics that are going on at these places. They're insane engineering that we're getting. So, anyways, that is the brief history. Tyler, do you want to jump in with any of the facts you found?
Okay, so I found a lot of just bizarre things, and a lot of it made me uncomfortable. I didn't include a whole lot of uncomfortable stuff because I didn't like those feelings. There was this place called Spree Park. It was originally called Culture Park Planterwald, and it was in East Berlin. It opened in 1969. Now, if you're a history buff, you know that in 1969, that was a pretty tumultuous time for the world.
There's a reason it was called East Berlin.
East Berlin, yes. So this was during the communist era, and Culture Park Planterwald, it was essentially the East German government's effort to give the working class a fun thing to do to take their mind off of the communism that was happening in their country. So,
can you imagine? Hold on. Can you imagine being in communist in communist East Berlin and you can't eat, right? Like, people are getting shot trying to get into West Berlin every day, and then they're just like, "Hey, we're fixing everything for you. Here's an amusement
Culture
park."
Well, it's called Culture Park because what they wanted to do is they wanted to affect the culture, saying, "Hey, communism's not all that bad. We have an amusement park. We got a Ferris wheel, man." And
that's like a failing restaurant saying, "We're not that bad. We have Coke."
The worst part is that what they tried to do with the different themes and attractions inside the park is tie them to the culture of East Germany.
No.
Yeah, so they tried. They basically said, "Here is that." I mean, that's why it was a very deep, like, I almost want to say deep fake, but like, it was a deeply mantled together plan to get everybody in this theme park and to basically work in their minds to say everything is good. Yes, East German pride. Let's go.
Bet the duck shoot was really interesting.
I bet it was. So anyway, after Germany reunified, it was called Spree Park again. It was open until 1991. Oh no, sorry. It had a rebrand to Spree Park in 1991, and then it closed in 2002 due to mismanagement and mounting debt. The park's haunting, abandoned atmosphere gained attention in the 2010s, and its iconic structures like the Ferris wheel remain a symbol of its faded grandeur. I believe, don't put me on record, though this podcast is, I guess, record.
You couldn't be more on record than right now.
I believe that Ferris wheel is part of, in Call of Duty Mobile in the Battle Royale map, where it's got the Ferris wheel.
Yes.
Okay. The pictures that I saw looked very similar to that, and so something about that might be taken from Spree Park, which I thought was kind of an interesting little thing.
Okay.
So,
see, I'm going to actually follow up because I also looked into Spree Park.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will certainly find some of the same things here and there, but I actually was looking at the owners and caretakers of Spree Park and some of their background. So the Witts, I don't know how you would say that in Germany, but the Witts family, were given ownership or caretaking responsibilities for this amusement park in 1989. Okay, so this was right when they were starting to unify East and West Berlin, and they wanted to kind of rejuvenate this park, and so they put the Witts in park, and the agreement with the city-state of Berlin states that the land for this park may only be used as an amusement park until 2061. So It's stuck being that park for another, what?
Even though it's closed.
Even though it's closed. It's stuck being that park for another, like, 35 years, 36 years?
Man.
So they can't actually do anything with it legally.
Except graffiti it.
Yes. So the Vits take over. And I believe it closed in 2002? They take over.
Yep, 2002.
Yeah. So they take over. By the mid-1990s, things were going poorly. Okay, we're not doing well. Norbert...
probably from the outset in 1969, you could probably classify that and say...
Compared to 1969, you must have been doing great.
The reason this park was open was because things were going poorly. There was nothing good about this park.
That's fair. So the Vits are holding on to this park for dear life, trying to keep it going. He remembers 1993 being a good year, and that's basically it.
That's awesome.
But the Vits left in 2001 to go, and they actually moved to Peru. Okay, they moved to Peru.
A great
and they
place.
took a couple of the rides with them.
Oh.
And then in 2003, they came back, and they actually took one of the rides back called the Flying Carpet. They're coming back, and they were arrested because they had 167 kilos of cocaine in the Flying Carpet.
Did they know about it?
Yeah.
It's a magic carpet.
Yes, it was very magic. Things were just appearing.
Officer, I don't know where this came from. It's a magic ride.
Yep. So Norbert, the father, the man originally, was caught in Germany. Okay. And he was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Unfortunately, his son was caught in Peru and was sentenced to 20. So, so they got tried very differently. Today, Norbert Witt lives in Spree Park in a caravan.
What?
Yes, he's currently living in a caravan.
Like if I pull up Spree Park on Google Maps, I will see his caravan.
I'm pretty sure that's where that's what this article says, that he currently lives in Spree Park. So the man is committed, and he's still living there, and he loves to talk about how the good old days of Spree Park and all the potential that it had. So that's kind of that's what's going on now. So Spree Park, everybody. Now it's a fence jumping place for enthusiasts.
Yes,
if you can go and check it out.
Heritage USA.
Okay.
A Christian-themed amusement park.
For the viewers, we are both Christians.
Yes.
When I hear Christian-themed anything, I get nervous. On every level, I get very nervous.
Yes.
Please continue.
And just for the record, there is a wide spectrum of Christians and those who claim to be Christian. This is part of that wide spectrum. I'm gonna read a summary that I found online of this place by someone who my guess is not a Christian, and I found it very helpful in understanding this place. Back when prosperity gospel televangelists were a cultural force to be reckoned with, Jim and Tammy Faye Baker figured that any social movement worth its weight in viewer donations should have its own theme park. Back in 1978, they opened Heritage USA in Fort Mill, South Carolina, to members of the public for whom Six Flags was presumably too lewd in its portrayal of Bugs Bunny Bunny's proclivity for cross-dressing. Disneyland is fine, but does it advertise the ability to literally cure diseases in its upper room with the power of prayer and have a 52-foot water slide? Didn't think so. Unfortunately, scandal and fraud led to the park's closure in 1989, and visitors today can witness its crumbling majesty through a chain-link fence separating it from a decaying parking lot.
Well, doesn't that kind of represent most televangelism?
Well, I mean, in some ways, yes.
Like, we started out with a great idea, then corruption ended up taking it down.
My favorite part of that is, Disneyland is fine, but does it advertise the ability to literally cure diseases in its upper room with the power of prayer and have a 52-foot water slide?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Oh my god.
So anyway, Jim Bakker and Tammy were part of the Praise the Lord ministries back in the late 70s. And basically what they wanted to do was use their ministry to create something that was fun for the community. You know, at best, these were their motives: to create something great, to create something fun, family fun, entertainment. It would have rides. It would have a water park, which I don't know how you can have a Christian water park. It would have hotels, shopping complex, and it would have an on-site ministry where they would like have revival meetings and stuff like that.
So, do you think it would have been open to general public, or do you think it would have been?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It had millions of visitors.
Okay.
Annually.
So it's not like they're checking your Christian card at the gate.
Yeah, I don't think so. There is not a Christian card.
Yeah. That's true.
Though at Charles Spurgeon's church, to take communion, you had to show a gold coin, which meant that you had been vetted in your testimony of salvation by the church leadership. So there's a Christian coin. Anyway, so what I find really, really interesting about this is you have so much speculation as far as what the actual purpose of it was, because with a lot of Christian celebrities, it's who can I influence? Can I make some money? Like, that's definitely a factor. It's one of those things you think about. And so at best, this was a well thought out plan to get Christian entertainment, revival, good family based stuff. At worst, it was a money making scheme because in the late 1980s, Jim Bakker was involved in a financial scandal, and that included allegations of fraud, and he was convicted for embezzlement.
Okay. So we're not... It's kind of hard to give the benefit of the doubt on Heritage USA at that point.
Well, I mean, at least to Jim. I mean, for all we know, Tammy was, Tammy Faye. She was...
Tammy was the real ministry driver in that.
She was the real ministry. She wanted to see families have a good time, walk away, loving life.
That dinner table was exciting. I can guarantee you. Does it say how many kids they had?
No.
Okay.
Probably millions.
Okay. But she was the one coming home like, oh, Jim, everybody's going to just love this park.
Everybody's going to love it.
We're going to see people come to Jesus every single night. And
every
he's
day.
just like, yeah.
Have a 50. I don't need it.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm going to move on here to, we're just going to talk about China for a second.
China.
We're going to talk about China.
China.
So China has a very specific relationship with Disney.
Okay.
If you think of historic China Disney relationships, what does that look like to you?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Okay, because to me it looks like bootlegged films. Okay? And it looks like knockoff. You have, the Little Mermaid, and then you have the Undersea Girl. Like you have these different.
Oh, sure. Like, is that actually a thing?
Yeah. Well, these like knockoff movies. That's a massive thing. Like if you go and you see like movies where it's like 101 Dalmatians, and it's like 99 German Shepherds. Like that's a thing that you'll find where it's just like
do they actually refilm it? Or?
Yeah, they remake them at very low quality.
Oh.
And amusement parks are no different. Let me introduce you to two places. One is easy to pronounce, and one of them is not. For the one that is easy to pronounce is called Nara Dreamland.
I heard of that one.
Nara Dreamland. And the other one is Shizhong, which I don't know what that means, but
it's good.
But I'm going to talk about Shizhong for a second, because Shizhong is in the is category and Nara is in the was category.
If you're fluent in Chinese, please don't assume that Joel is wanting to pronounce it in a way that would communicate that he is also fluent in Chinese.
Correct. Joel is just trying to figure this out as he goes.
He's trying to figure it out, so have some grace.
I'm just going to read you a paragraph from an article on Shizhan. The current slogan of this park is happy, healthy, and high.
Seriously?
Yes. It would fit a drug and CrossFit addict well. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the target demographic of the park.
Oh,
Their
my.
previous slogan was better, though. Quote, Disney is too far to go. Please come to Shizhan. Following lawsuits from Disney, that slogan was sadly retired, but it still looms in the background, as we shall see. If you look at this place, please look up photos.
I'm looking at Spree Park right now. I found the caravan.
Okay. Look at photos of Shizhan. If you can pronounce it.
I don't even know how to spell it.
Shingngshan.
What is it?
Shij.
Shijong Amusement. All right, go ahead.
Okay. If you look at it, it is the most knockoff Disney thing you've ever seen. You walk in, like, take Disney World, Magic Kingdom, blue, white, beautiful things, Main Street, make it beige.
Communist.
Make it beige and communist. Okay? It is the worst looking thing I've ever seen in my life. You have Peter Pan rides, you have Little Mermaid things, and Shizhan has
it is actually a knockoff.
Yes, it's a legitimate knockoff.
They have
of
Michael
Disneyland.
Mouse walk. Oh no. What's the other one you were talking about?
Nara?
Yeah, Nara has Michael Mouse.
Yes. Michael Mouse is
Michael
a thing.
Mouse.
Shizhan is the one that has still is still going. It looks like a drug den with better better theming.
A drug den?
It looks awful. They have responded to these claims that they're basically a Disney knockoff and have said, no, we are not a Disney knockoff. We just have some things that look a little bit similar. Take Disneyland, scale it down by
It's
like 2.5%.
Make it look like make it look like you weren't looking over my shoulder.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So both of them look like
It has 4 out of 5 stars on TripAdvisor.
that cannot be accurate.
Number 6 of 416 things to do in Tianjin.
I'm gonna guess there aren't a lot of better things to do in Tianjin, but yes, Asian culture loves Disney and loves profiting on Disney.
Yes.
So we have a lot of knockoff parks in that area of the world.
All right. What's the second one?
Nara?
Nara. Do you got anything on that one?
It's basically the same thing, just shut down.
So you're kind of grouping them together.
Yeah. So that's what I got.
I found one. We can stay over there in Yamanashi, Japan. It's called Gulliver's Kingdom.
I saw this, but I didn't go into it very far.
There's a book and a film called Gulliver's Travels, if you are sadly uncultured to remember that. Basically about this normal-sized human who finds a civilization of tiny, tiny, tiny people. And I don't know, do you remember like the whole plot and stuff? Like he eventually gets, like, does he get drugged and tied up by them?
I don't remember. It's been way too
You
long.
uncultured guy.
I remember watching the movie, but I don't remember.
Okay, anyway,
else.
one of the main plot points is that they do tie him up. That somehow all of these little tiny midgets all grouped together, they throw rope over him and they tie him up. This is another one of those. I'm going to read you a little paragraph here, and
I'm going to sit back and enjoy.
yeah, sit back and enjoy.
Okay.
Built in 1997 as part of the Japanese government's economic stimulus plan, labeled, I don't know, people need jobs, build a theme park based on Gulliver's Travels. You got any better ideas? The bizarre park featuring yeah.
Why are we back in East Berlin? Japan.
I know. The bizarre park, featuring satirical references to 1726 era political culture, quickly closed down due to zero public demand. This is a classic example of we didn't think about if we should. We only thought about if we could. Could we make a Gulliver's Travel themed park? Yes. Did anybody want this? No.
In Japan, like that's the weird part to me. Is that a Japanese thing? Gulliver Travels, like
apparently not at the same time.
Yeah, like that would be like us doing a Krampus park. Like that's not our that's not our thing, right? Like
yeah.
I could be wrong, but I don't really think of Gulliver as an Asian name. You know, like
yeah, Gulliver.
Yeah.
It could be one of those names where they're like everybody over in America is named Gulliver.
Yeah.
Anyway,
maybe.
So interestingly, it left behind the hulking remains of a giant bound permanently to the earth by his ropes that he can never untie.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what's left. And then I did find, I was kind of looking up like, okay, what theme parks have been haunted? Because that's like, if you're at a theme park in any movie or TV show, it is, why are we here? The haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're here because there are stories or somebody got murdered here at the theme park. Mm-hmm. Something bad's happening. You're never at a theme park for a good reason in a movie. So I was like, okay, what's going on here? And I found something about this one in a different place, but it says for the brief 6 years of ruin after it closed, before it was demolished, urban explorers did report odd sounds of laughter and shapes moving from shadows. Not for naught, the abandoned park can be found right next to a place called Aogikara, which is Japan's infamous suicide forest.
Ah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it probably wasn't very smart to build a theme park next to a suicide forest. Doesn't seem like a great place. But I don't know when that was called the suicide forest or whatever.
Yeah, not the best decision making.
Yeah, not a big fan of odd sounds of laughter and shapes moving from shadows.
Can I follow up on that?
Sure.
So I did find that Haunted Mansion in Disneyland.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's got haunted in the name. Okay, by the way, one of my favorite rides. I love Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, I've heard it's kind of less of an actual haunt and more of a...
It's silly.
Like, don't they change it based on like the season, like for Christmas?
Yeah.
They'll make it Christmassy themed.
Yeah,
and stuff.
like they'll do stuff like that. It's Disney. And I love it. I think it's fun. But apparently in the early days of Disneyland, there were these little, Haunted Mansion's actually haunted type things that went around. And apparently one of the guests that was going through was able to get a picture of a ghost and a person's face that was not a part of the ride. And rumors started circulating very highly that Haunted Mansion was actually haunted, until it came out that they had gotten a picture of one of the workers who was stuck in the ride.
Oh, well, that's kind of a letdown.
I know.
I mean, I kind of feel bad for him.
I feel bad.
Whatever's going on there. I hope he's out by now.
Yeah, I hope so. But the guy just got stuck and couldn't get out of the ride. And here's the thing. I don't know if you haven't been on the ride,
no.
But what it does, it's not like a coaster where you get in and you wait and then you start. It's a continuously looping ride. So you just get into a seat as it's going, and then you just keep going, and then you get out when you get to the end.
Okay, sure.
So if you're stuck, It's not like they can stop the ride to get easily to get you out, or that anybody's gonna be they can't just pause. You can't pause it before you let something go. Everybody on the ride is going to get stuck where they are. So if someone gets stuck and is just looking at your face, they're going to think you're a ghost and think you're a part of the attraction. So
yeah, that's not really something I'm interested in.
So anyways,
don't like that.
Don't like it either. But an unfortunate incident. I do have one more park I want to bring up real quick. A park that never came to be, which was proposed in 2012 by a French politician.
Okay. Baguette Land.
Baguette Land would have been better. Okay?
Oh wow, that's pretty.
So,
actually, Baguette Land.
I would go.
A theme park themed around bread.
I'd go. That would have some great.
That would have some great restaurants.
Some great restaurants. Can you imagine the bread bowls?
Yes, I actually can.
Yeah, it would be insane.
You know what would be great? It would be you know how they have pretzel buns? Mm-hmm. A pretzel bread bowl. Oh. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. What would you put in it?
It would have to be some kind of a savory stew.
Yeah, because you're not gonna
beef stew.
Beef
would be pretty
stew
good.
in a pretzel. Oh boy, dude.
Chicken
That's
noodle soup.
right there.
Chicken noodle soup would be wasted on a pretzel bowl.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So would I feel the broccoli cheddars and stuff that they would do at Panera. That's just not gonna fit.
No, it's got to be something.
It's got to have a red sauce base.
Substantial.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Anyway.
So no, this was not Baguette Land. This was Napoleon Land. This was proposed and by the mayor of a town, and it was going to cost about 200 million euros to build. Now, the mayor proposed that this would basically be going through the life of Napoleon Bonaparte and reenacting things and whatnot. I'm just going to read a little bit of the wiki page, which says, quote, proposed attractions included lessons in Napoleon's life from his time as an artillery officer to his eventual defeat at the Battle of Waterloo. A water show would depict the Battle of Trafalgar? I don't know.
Sounds good.
I think it's Trafalgar. Other historical reenactments, and this is my favorite, they wanted to have a ski run that you could go down.
Okay.
Featuring replicated frozen bodies of French soldiers in a recreation of Napoleon's retreat from Russia.
Let me get this straight. You're saying it's a theme park.
Yep.
That has a ski run.
Yep.
That has body moguls.
Body moguls of dead French soldiers because of them leaving Russia during the winter. A politician said this was a good idea and proposed this.
Kind of on brand.
Yeah. So, to me, this is the wildest thing I found today on theme parks. I wish this had been built because I want to see pictures of it. But sadly, it never came to be. The estimated completion date originally was 2023, and by 2020, it had still failed to find an investor. So this never actually came to be.
Well, I'm kind of glad that never came to be.
I'm not. I really wish I had found it today. You got anything else?
Yeah, I got two more places.
Okay.
Or one story and a place. There's a place called Pripyat Amusement Park in Ukraine. And it was one that it was set to open in 1986. It never got to open because it's in Chernobyl.
No.
Yeah. They had
no,
yeah,
dude.
So if you look up pictures of it online,
what was it called?
It's called Pripyat. Pripyat. It is nightmare fuel.
Oh no.
Anything in Chernobyl.
Oh no, dude. I'm seeing the pictures.
Yeah, it's not great, huh?
It really does look like Call of Duty.
Yeah, it'd be a great map. Have you seen the one of the bumper cars?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm looking at that right now.
Really, really famous picture. It just it never opened. Never got used, and it kind of stands there as just kind of depression.
Yeah, which it's sad because it might have been a great park.
Could have been.
Could have been. I don't know.
They could open it again.
They could. I'm going to recommend not.
I don't know who would go.
Yeah. All right, what was your last one?
All right, last one is a story. I found this on a forum, and it was it's based on Six Flags out in New Jersey.
Okay.
And there was a mirrors room, haunted castle. It had a bunch of mirrors in it and like rock texture and stuff. Basically, they put together this ride that was like a maze, and it was a structure made from truck trailers, 17 truck trailers. So you have like the 53-foot like semi truck trailers.
Yeah.
They cut holes in it and stuff. It's actually kind of ingenious, just to be able to put them together, bolt them together. And so they bolted them together, and then to replicate rock texture, they used spray foam, and then painted it and stuff. And so it was kind of an ingenious type thing and working through the maze. But there was a kid, a minor, that intentionally or unintentionally set something on fire. And there were 6 or it says there were 8 kids that died.
Oh no.
And 2 people that were injured trying to go in and help. And basically the kid got off scotch-free.
No.
Yes, because his parents lawyered up.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of this never-ending cycle of
did he or didn't he?
Yeah, did he or didn't he? And there's no, they didn't have security cameras or anything like that. So it nobody really knows. And so this former police officer is telling the story of it. It's kind of it's wild. He was on EMT that night. He burned his hand and stuff and trying to get in there. And so it's just one of those. It's a story. It's something that happened, and it's not great.
Yeah.
And it just makes me kind of hate theme parks a little bit more.
Even more than you already do.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Question of the day.
Okay, Tyler, I wanted to come with a question or two for you for the end of this episode.
Yes.
My main question is, if you had to open your own theme park, 1, where would you put it? And 2, what would its theming be?
Yeah, this is something that I've been thinking about for about 5 minutes ever since we talked about Baguette Land.
Okay, I'm kind of with you, dude.
And no, you get your own. I would go Baguette Land. Like, I think, and that's actually, spoiler alert, when we go through what we learned, Baguette Land, I learned that Baguette Land would be a great idea.
Yeah.
I think it would take off. I think you would have hundreds of millions of visitors that would come and visit. Because I think we in America kind of get this idea that bread is an unhealthy thing to eat, when in reality, every nation on earth, for the existence of humanity, has always survived up until the 1900s, has always survived on a single grain food source.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's bread. In certain cultures, maybe it's rice or some sort of corn.
Yeah.
But bread has historically been the thing that people have thrived on.
Yeah.
So outside of America, where bread is a bad thing because of carbs, in the rest of the world, bread is still a very, very viable source of life-giving food.
Yeah.
And so if we were to put this sucker in France and call it Baguette Land, right outside of Paris, first of all, we would get a bajillion Americans to come and visit as they come to
Primarily
Paris.
Americans.
But then I think we would get a lot of people from around Europe and even internationally from Asia.
No person from France is going.
No, they might. Who
If
knows?
the baguettes were good enough.
They're gonna be great. They're making them.
I feel like you'd almost have to have two. You know how like Disney is split up into like Tomorrowland and Adventureland and stuff like that. I feel like you need to have like Baguette Land and like Macaron Land,
Yeah.
and like the sweet section, the bread section, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you? What amusement park would you open and where?
I've been thinking about it. I can't really think of a good theme. I would love to see a fully Victorian themed
Ooh,
amusement park.
that's interesting.
Okay, because like there's so much you could do with that, right? Like you could have a lot of theming from the cast members or from the workers. I will say the workers would hate you because all of them would have to wear the warmest of attire.
That would suck.
Okay, it would be the worst. Like people would hate you. You know, like you could do so much beautiful artwork for these places. The coasters, I don't know really what you would have for coasters, but food-wise and theming-wise, I think you could have a lot of fun things. I think you have a full Jane Austen area that is just
Where they get to go through the actual role playing of Elizabeth Bennet.
yes, yeah, role playing, and
Getting
you have
to
like
argue
a
with Mr. Darcy.
and you have like a dark ride that's just like animatronics of Pride and Prejudice the whole way through. Like, yeah, it's like I hate you. Like that's the whole thing.
You get to have a meal of meat and potatoes.
Yes.
What excellent
Boiled potatoes. Yes. I think this could work for about 3 years.
Yeah, it would work for a very specific group of people.
Yeah.
And all of those people are already going to medieval festivals.
Yes. So you'd want to do it in like, I would say like Baltimore area or like because I think like Renaissance fairs and things are like big in like Maryland and like the DC area are like.
Why not just go Boston then?
Boston would be good area. Yeah, or somewhat close to a bigger city.
Sure.
Where you're gonna
you're gonna get the
nerds, the nerd culture. You got to go to a nerdy area, otherwise you're done. So.
Would you rather be a detective that specializes in theme park murders for the rest of your life?
Okay.
Or be responsible for Heritage USA?
Oh, absolutely be a detective who specializes in theme park murders.
Okay.
100%.
So that does not scare you away.
No. That'd be the most Scooby-Doo thing you've ever seen in your life.
Very Scooby-Doo.
Like just like every day you're like walk into the mirror house and you just like can't find the body. Like that would be
that or worse, you see 5 of them.
Oh no.
It'd be
Hey, you see every angle of the crime scene. No.
The idea with this though is that if there is a theme park murder anywhere, you're going to investigate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but behind
including
being
closed theme parks.
Ooh. That threw a curve. That's
either
even
that or Heritage
that's
USA.
even more Scooby-Doo.
Very Scooby-Doo. Would you get a team? You'd have to have a team, or at least a dog.
I would definitely have a dog.
Okay,
absolutely would have a dog. Next to being responsible for Heritage USA, first of all, the person who's responsible for Heritage USA is in prison.
Yes.
Like. No, I would much rather be the theme park death investigator.
You don't have to go to prison?
Hmm?
What if you don't have to go to prison? You're responsible for it?
I think I'd rather see horrors than be responsible for one.
All right, what did we learn today, Joel? I learned that Baguette Land is a phenomenal idea. Mm-hmm. Let us know out there if you would come to Baguette Land.
I learned today that capitalizing and bootlegging off of Disney does not stop at simply animated movies and goes into architecture and theme parks as well.
And this comes from a man who cares very much about Disney.
I do. I care a lot about Disney.
Yes.
To the core of me.
There you go. All right, well, that wraps it up for episode 1 of Rapid Research. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it. Make sure to like, share, and follow, subscribe, all that stuff. And
Click the bell.
click, if there's a bell, click it.
Yeah, or tap it.
Or tap it.
So
Press it with your nose.
if you do that, hats off to you.
Hats off.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.